Good evening, Josh Wallace, Commander of the 2nd District.
Last evening, everybody. Roderick Watson, Commander of the 3rd District.
Good evening, I'm Roger G. Hills, the Commander of the 7th District. You fitting where we in, right where we in.
We see who brought the fan club with us. All right, so, like I said, we're gonna have a conversation here tonight. So what I'm gonna ask as we get started, we have 4 main sections here. This is a room called 1, 2, 3, 4. I am going to ask that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's have 5 people from here go back to section number 4. Yeah. Section number 4. And can we have at least 6 people come down to section number 3? Any random 6. We don't have to be precise in numbers.
Live, uncut, unedited.
So we want to leave a little room here. Now, guess what? All these deputy chiefs, commanders, and a first deputy by the name of Eric Carter is going to join you. We're going to leave the diocese and we're going to come back here and make sure that we sit with you to have this conversation. So I ask all the command members, let's find one spot in one of these areas to join people to have this conversation. All right. So we have that here. Man, okay. Commander Hill and his fan club. All right. So we're going to take, so every time I try this, I say we're going to spend 10 minutes on a subject. No one has ever spent 10 minutes. That is our goal, is to spend approximately 10 to 15 minutes. I promise you the conversations will be very robust, they're going to be frank, and they're going to be honest. So, at each one of your groups, we're also going to ask a note taker from one of our community policing officers to join that group. So, if the note takers can head to one of those groups, and I'm sure Miguel will help us work that out. And here's what we're looking to do as we have these conversations, is to focus on one question. So let me give you the question. And I'm going to read it a couple times. How can we, and we being the Chicago Police Department, improve the collaboration between the faith-based leaders and their local district? That's the question at hand. And we ask this question because of this. We realize the wisdom of the faith community. Not only have you been moral leaders in the neighborhoods, you've been leaders of people, you've been the cornerstone of many of the neighborhoods, and you see everything that goes on the block. That's some valuable wisdom. And we as a department and our command staff have to tap into that wisdom, and really, as we go forward and develop our strategies and we work together, how do we address this violence that everybody in this room knows that we've been inflicted on the block? And we know for a fact, because we've done it before, we've had high levels of violence, and we also know, working with community members, we've been able to save people's lives. So this conversation is deep. We're asking you to have a frank conversation on how we can work better. So let me me repeat that question one more time. How can we improve the collaboration between the faith-based leaders and their institutions with their local districts? There is no right or wrong answer. As long as we have respect, we will come up with some strategies. And here's the thing, every note taker is there to capture that wisdom. All right? So we're going to begin this clock. Like I said, 10 minutes is kind of the thought. But we'll go back now the conversations are going. Any questions, concerns, alibis? Everyone gets set up, it's kind of turn in so you guys can go out.
No, that's selfie stick.
Oh, okay. Selfie.
I understand, yeah.
We got the circle big enough?
Yeah, I think it's big enough. Live, uncut, unedited, people. That's the question, people.
All right. It is approximately 6:28. We're going to go to about 6:40 until we get ready. Let's start.
What's that? You gonna just take my seat, huh? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Okay. Give the street pass. Street pass, you need a seat? Take a seat. Huh?
I just came to see you.
Okay.
Come on, gang, chief.
Live, uncut, unedited.
You got it over there on the big board.
Junior Commander. Okay, so we got someone taking notes, right? So we're gonna have to have someone to write down some of the.
Yeah, we got the notes over there.
Okay, good. So we say that transparency. That's a good start. Trust.
I have a question. What are you looking for out of this? You say how do you improve collaboration? Exactly what you say. Because I think it's that question. It's about that question. We'll get some real answers and not just.
Okay. So here's the thing. I'm gonna I know what I'm looking for. We know what we're looking for, right? So these are kind of passes, but I want, as faith-based leaders from the community, I want to know some of your ideas. What are you looking for collaboration with us? I mean, I have a concept and idea of I would like to see transpire between the community and police and faith-based. Faith-based should be the foundation when it comes to strategy.
How about it?
So what
That'd be great.
Right. So what I mean by that is so every corner in most of the communities, what do we have?
Churches and a liquor store.
A liquor store, right?
Church and a liquor store. We got both. Right. Okay.
So what better spot to start is from the church, right? Because they're on every corner, right? And each church is in the community, right? So I would think, hopefully, a lot of times, most of the congregation and membership from these churches are not from the actual community. So I would like to see more collaboration with them to get to know the community and actually be on the forefront and working on some of those quality of life issues and trying to get the community together, reaching out to individuals within the community and
They should be, not could be, they should be. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. Stand against it. But it's like, if we're gonna actually get into that question, then we gotta do that in order to just
I think we need to recognize who the real players are in these communities and the ins and outs of these blocks. The doors of the church are not always open. So when these kids are reaching out for some guidance, some accountability, the church is locked. So we gotta stop just saying faith-based. We gotta talk about the guys and females out here with boots on the ground that are really in the trenches with these young men and women. That's what we need.
Or we can talk about them both.
I agree. I'm not excluding faith-based, but I'm saying the topic of this is faith-based. I wanted to be well-rounded to show that we have people out there risking their lives actually every day to make sure these young men and women have a future.
And I was just going to say my comment was in reference to the fact that they both play a relevant role in some capacity. So we can really start talking about how each of them, even the ones that we're not talking about, is
Well, the faith community and the police definitely have something in common. That is that many young adults don't trust either. They don't trust the pastors.
Absolutely.
They don't talk to the pastors, and they're not going to church, and they don't want to deal with the police. So at the foundation of it, there's a commonality between both institutions. And so in order to build out collaboration, I think one of the key pieces of that is to figure out those common traits and what can we do to address it in solidarity. Because they're not listening to one side or the other side. So in that particular regard, there's a common thread. And I believe that one of the things that can be done, I have written a piece for the National Black Agenda, and I talked about in that piece, I talked about creating faith-based hubs, where these are actual long-path hubs where it's almost like Brother Tyrone would probably call it like a safe haven, so to speak. Like a safe space. So these particular churches, the few that we do have that have good relationships with the youth, they are probably better suited to at least kick it off, because as we know, young people follow other young people. So even though there's this notion that there's static between both groups, the ones that I trust, you have to start with. See, the thing is, I think one of the pieces is to start with what's in our hands. What's available to us right now? Which churches, which ministers, which pastors, and not just the church, but the faith community. Who's trusted? Which officers are trusted? What do we have in common? And how do we build out from that common place? And create hubs?
I think going off of what you're saying, and very valid points, and I didn't realize 100%, that the worshipers trust what, say, the pastors and ministers. But the thing that the pastors and ministers have is they have the community that comes to the church. So it's not maybe a direct relay between the police and the minister or the police. We all have to be partners and work with our constituents, per se. So if you have people coming to your church, they know people in the neighborhood because they're members and they live in their community. So they know the people, and they have more boots on the ground, per se, or more of a feel for what's going on than, say, police officers who are minister in the church, because his doors are closed except on Sunday. But the members that come to the church on Sunday, they might have a little bit more of a feel for what's going on in the community Monday through Saturday.
So let's do this as we go around. Let's raise hands so everyone get equal time.
I'll make sure.
Okay.
Just say your name, bro.
Greg Sherman, ECCSC.
Hey, Greg.
Yes, sir. Gregory Sherman,
Okay, so we can all hear.
Director of Community Outreach and Engagement. As I read the question, it says, how do we improve collaboration between faith-based leaders and police officers? What are we improving in collaboration to? What are we asking the faith-based leaders and the police to collaborate for? It's an open-ended question. What are we collaborating about? Anybody answer that?
So here's what I'm gonna say. Part of what we should be doing is tearing down those hubs. The problem is we work in silos. You have in this particular silo, you have the faith base over here, and you have the police over here. So one of the challenges I did in the 3rd district is that I said I'm bringing everybody to the table. And what we're doing is we're going, what is the issue in our community? Our community has a lot of issues. And I say our community because so it's not like I'm saying I don't understand what some of the problems are in the community because I face some of them. My family has issues, right? So I can identify with them and I actually do care because it affects me as well. So what we do is let's go down and list some of the resources, right?
Right, lack of.
Right, lack of, right? Crime, right? We're talking about shootings, homicides, violence.
Carjackings.
Carjackings, right? We also talk about those quality of life issues that can lead to those, right? For example, mental health, right? We talk about drugs. We talk about a lot of issues, right? So the goal is to bring everybody to the table and we attack and bring those resources. The community, these groups, all of us is working together. We also have to hold who? Our politicians. You have to hold them accountable. You have to, those resources and all this stuff comes from where?
Yeah, legislation.
Exactly.
So, okay, I want to talk about cross-counseling. In the 8th district, years ago when the CAP was more funded at one time, there was a round table that consistently took place once to twice per month. Whether you had 10 members or 1,000 members, didn't make a difference. And the officers were there among the faith-based leaders. And our group was this, that the faith-based leaders were the civil leaders. We had the influence over the people, regardless of the level of the congregation. And then there was a driven agenda by the clergy, not the officers, or not the department. There was a driven agenda, and the context of it was this. Whenever there was an incident or hotspot, as we call them, there was mobilization of the ministers there, which is not new to our city, but there was mobilization of the ministers under the tutelage or the oversight of the officers, so it was a real partnership. One of the things that is important is there are multiple problems that we have in the city, but there has to be an agreement to work together and work through those issues as we work together. So one of the things we did on Friday night, for instance, was Friday Night Sweeps, where the pastors were coming, or youth leaders and pastors were coming to the community room, and those who were out after, the juveniles that were out after curfew, they would bring them in. We would resource them with options of what they could do on Friday night, rather than hang out, pray with them, they would get snacks, and they would be taken home by us, or the parents pick them up. Now I'm saying that because the only reason why that district was strong at that time is because we were moving toward a common goal in spite of the areas that needed to be improved. So I even think tonight the only way we're going to make progress is really agree that we have to agree, and then knock the colleagues out as we move forward with the agenda driven by the clerk.
Next, who was the person next to you? And the gentleman next to you.
Yeah.
Tell us your name, I guess.
JJ Maladecki. So one of the things that we need to see as well is bring, like you said, collaboration, all those different groups. So for instance, we had a new community group that just came into my neighborhood. And right away I'm like, how can our church collaborate with them? So I think right now, it's a lot of people are like, well, we help out, we're the boots on the ground, you open up on Sundays. That ain't me. But there's a lot of pastors that are bivocational. They don't have a choice. Quite frankly, they're working a job 9 to 5, they're only able to open up on Sunday. But they can do stuff during the week, they can help out at nighttime, they can do that stuff. And so you have all these other groups around there. We're all going for the kingdom. There's no competition here. It's all for the kingdom, and it's all for Chicago. And so we're all thinking the same thing, but then let's collaborate. Let's not just say, well, I got my ministry, It's okay, let's do God's ministry, let's do it together, let's come together. And if different organizations that are here that are represented from different places, go to their local churches and just talk to them. I guarantee they'll be like us. I mean, we'd be like, hey, yeah, whatever you need, we'll open our doors if you need it. If they're not feeling the trust to come into our doors, what can we do to make a neutral place that we can help out with that? The more and more we can do that, I think the better.
Your name.
My name is Teresa Graham Davenport. The first thing that I would say related to faith-based and police, because you made a comment about commonality.
to come together without judgment, because a lot of our young people feel like they're being judged by both sides. So when we say we all need to come together, there shouldn't be a hierarchy of oversight. We're partnering. That means we're all together doing something. And then, as Greg said, we need to decide what that agenda is going to be, whether we're going to work on one thing at a time or we're going to work on things simultaneously. It's important for us to remove the judgment that we have on our young people and get off our high horses to say that they're not doing this and why are they doing this? Because there's crime because there's no jobs. They're not getting paid well. There's lots of reasons why some of these things are happening. Mental illness, as some people have already mentioned here. So if we come together and have that understanding, and then we can talk through those things with our young people, because we can all sit here and talk about what should happen for the young people, but if we don't include them, then it's all for naught.
I think answering the question and staying focused to the question is kind of a part of the building blocks that we're trying to get at. And I think establishing the collaboration is what's going to be the building blocks to getting the youth involved on all of these.
We need to hear from Brother Tyrone.
We got gentleman in black and
You keep forgetting her. She was next. She was next.
She can go next.
Just tell us your name, ma'am.
in fairness, we're going to start here and then we'll go to the floor. Ma'am.
Okay. Hi, Minister Hood. I was asking about the question where it says improving collaboration between the two. I'm looking at, we're trying to bring the two to one. One entity all together working for common good, which is the purpose of healing our communities and bringing together positive resources. So how can we improve the collaboration between the two? I was sitting there thinking, two things that first came to my mind was we have lack of communication. Communication is one. The other one is involvement, improvement. We have a lot of things that need to be improved as far as the police and the churches, okay? So a lot of them, like you said, yeah, they don't even stay in our community. They come, they house there, they do their service, whatever they do, and they gone. My house is a church, okay? I'm a church. We foot soldiers for the Lord. We go out door knocking and hit the streets. Okay, I've taken in so many people and dealt with so many issues, and I don't have a real bona fide church, but communication part that comes with me is that don't let us have a meeting and we all coming together collaboratively to try to find resources and answers for an issue or a situation, and you don't listen to us. Communication, listen, hear what we got to say. And hey, Pastor Titus, okay. Pastor Titus, I'm the 8th district, and Pastor Titus, I'm so glad to see him, because at the 8th district faith-based meetings that we used to have, he was overseer of that. And I was connected with our community outreach faith-based officer that was there. He had my number, I had his number. He would call me in the middle of the night. Hey, Hood, this and that is going on. You got time, want to go? Yeah, let's go. Let's hit the streets. Let's do this. Communication. So that's the things I want to say.
So let's make sure we get everybody before they come along.
That's fine. Just, I'm saying, just listen to what I have to say. Because communication and involvement is important. Some of them don't listen. I had stuff to say. They listen and slip on the route and nothing never got out.
But having talent that we put together.
My name is Dolly Dockery, and I've had awesome life to the violence out of the street. Some of the violence contributes directly to our family and the outside. I hear the question is what collaboration can we have police in the community space. There are a lot of beats in each district. However, many individual police officers are on each beat. I think the collaboration is the officers knowing, you talk about the faith-based, knowing how many churches are there in your beat, learning as to what resources are inside those churches that are available, and then have a communication with those pastors to see how you can gather those resources, what participants or individuals that possibly can't fit into those resources or in agreement, and you can talk to them about the advantages and benefits. But if you don't know what's inside of those faith-based organizations, you can say we come to the table with you all these faith-based, but if you don't know what their resources are, there's so much resources inside of them, but if you don't tap into those resources, it's a conversation. I'm not saying it's negative, but it's a conversation. But you need to know what's inside of those churches to know that they are actually operable and they have great benefit.
Okay, the gentleman in black.
Tyrone Muhammad, ex-con for community and social change. First of all, we need to tell the truth. Teach, period. The police and the church. The bottom line is there's a separation of church and state. And if Jesus was alive and here with us today and is alive, he would not accept the current state of policing. For us to even collaborate without first dealing with the injustices that has been systemic through the whole system. Now you're talking about church and judgment. While we all claim to be one and follow the same book, church don't even come together to even come to a collective response across the country. That's why we have so many churches. But yet everyone claims to follow the same book. And the same thing, policing claim to follow the same ethics and rules. But from district to block to commander and station, they operate from a whole different ethics. And I know this because I deal with one police in this district, a commander in that district, a commander in that district who don't check his officer, or who this one who side with his officer no matter what they do. I'm telling you, we got to tell the truth, and once we start doing that, then we can start dealing with the issue. Until then, this is just a conversation that's not going nowhere. We'll be doing this again next year. So let's deal with the truth.
I just had a good question.
For what?
For what?
For what?
Okay, hold on.
Or mob. Or
Hold on. Well, we're not going to do it. Let's make this personal.
Right. So what we're trying to do right now, I agree. What we're trying to do right now is come to a common ground. I'm going to speak from what we're doing in the 3rd district. Okay. So he can contest what I'm doing in the 3rd district. Anyone that's sitting here knows what we're doing in the 3rd district.
Yes, sir.
What we have going in the 3rd district, we call it Together We Can. What I did from day one is reached out to every pastor through my lead, Pastor Lee. We reached out to other clergy. I reached out to all my outreach, such as Project Hood, some of various groups. And I started a meeting. It happens every Friday. It encompasses the community, the church, block club leaders, everybody. And we also have our real conversation like he's talking about. What we call those real man pieces, where we sit down with the community and answer those tough questions. Why are we policing some of the things? But what are some of the harms that we actually discussed and admit to some of the harms we did do in the community, right? And we apologize. So how can we get past it? How can we tear those walls down to build trust? So you guys have an opportunity. I suggest you guys check in on what we're doing, and it will we really have a core on how I think we should be moving forward with policing. Pastor, what do you can suggest to us? Everyone else tag in.
I'm going to have to hit the pause button here. Believe it or not, we started off with 10 minutes. We had 20. It is impossible to stop. So we're going to begin the readout here. And what was we had? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to begin right over here. I'm going to ask one of the commanders that the chiefs over here to give us a quick readout of what we were able to gain
children. So that's a
All right.
piece right there.
Let me get a pause. We don't break up in groups, so we're going to come back with the second question. I'm going to ask Josh, can you go ahead and get us started? What did you learn from group number 2?
Officer Shelton, make basic liaison here in the 7th district, and the group was talking about the pastors have a lot to do to create peace in the community. One of the things that they need to do to start is pastors need to work together. Pastors should educate the people who to go to and what to go to them for. Pastors should increase communication between community members and the police. Get youth more involved in the community and teach the youth to respect our community. Police need to be intentional in engaging the community at community events. Police need to reach the young people not as an authority figure, but as a friend. Police need to respect the way the youth feel. Police need to reach out to parents of gun violence. One of the brothers said, we just need to take on the Nike shirt. Stop talking about it and just do it. Be consistent. Put things on a calendar. Police need to go inside the churches and sit inside some of the services.
Give him a round. So let me ask this a quick question before I go to the next group. How many people signed in when they walked through the door? Okay. Now, I am not going to call you out. However, if you didn't sign in, guess what we can't do? We can't be connected. So all the talking that we're doing here, if we can't follow up with it, then guess what we're doing? Just talking. As someone said, talking loud and saying what?
Nothing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who we got over here? All right, you ready? And you are Pastor Williams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pastor Williams, and some of the things that we've said on our group coincide with what I heard Brother Joshua say, but I'll give some things, of course, communication, which is very important in any relationship, and especially as we're talking about our communities and our police force. Visibility, one thing that Commander Hill stressed, I certainly agree with, that we need to attend the big meetings. We need to be a part of what's going on, know the stats, know what's happening not only in our community, but on our blocks, in our backyards, and then be diligent in sharing information and speaking up. They mentioned about having events. One young man said not only should our officers come in uniform, but every now and then out of uniform. Just be a part, blend in with the group, blend in with the congregation, look like the rest of the folk that's there. And then some of our younger people, when they see that, because they haven't seen officers many times out of uniform, perhaps that level of intimidation won't be there, making them a little more comfortable. Be a part of some of the social and mentoring programs that are already in place. And then, as our Commander Hill said, we need the support from the churches, the leaders, to come from behind the walls, from behind the pulpits, and be active and involved in our communities. Get together. I heard a lot of, we didn't mention the word unity, but the things that we do would, of course, create unity and precision among what we want to do. So we have to have the same mind, the same spirit, the same goals, and then we have to work together. Collaboration means working together. It means partnering, and I think that's important. So those are some of the things that we do.
I think Thank you very much. Let's go to group number 2. Who is going to be our speaker? You ready?
Hey doing everybody, I'm Officer Ray Tracy, I'm in the 8th District Cap's office. We have a lot of good information here in group 2. Some of the points we had, we're collaborating with district commanders on down to identify some hotspots where you can meet for prayer, full marches at least once a month. Collaborate with bordering churches in other districts, for example, between 9 and 7, 55th Street is the border, and there's not tons of communication sometimes between the two different sides, so work better with that. Meet at least once a month to plan for future events, create a fluid agenda. Establish a liaison to contact clergy weekly at the least to determine specific issues. Keep a continuing line of communication. Find out ways for the police to be more present in the community, as small as they may be. Change the perception of the police to our youth, which in turn builds trust by interacting with those in the community. Improve visibility at all the churches, parks, playgrounds in the area. Providing resources to the community. Find ways to keep youth busy. And a couple more faith-based email blasts to inform the clergy of the panel so they can pass it on to the communities. Officer-friendly interactions, bring those back more. There was more in the past, but we still do that, but we need to do it more. And again, to reiterate, two churches, along with the department's assistants, need to work together more to build everyone together.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go over to group number 1. Woo! Oh, man, a little robust conversation over here. I'm almost scared to ask. Who's their spokesperson? All right. Great, Pastor. All right.
Good evening, everyone. Hey! Hey, y'all. All right. Well, I'm just an artist, so let me do what I do. So, with the our group conversation was really, as we said, pretty robust. Some of the things that we talked about is truly building out the collaboration. We wanted to back out that question because it's a broad question, it's a loaded question to understand what we even talk about when we say we want to improve collaboration. So there was a discussion around what does that really mean. So we talked about building out the collaboration, and some of the key elements of doing that is coming into agreement. We have to be in agreement out the gate. We need to focus on common ground. What do we have in common? What are some of the challenges and what are some of the strengths from both sides? And how do those things inform what we do? What does it look like on the other side of the vision, such as Commander Watson? What does it look like when we are collaboration? What do you see on the other side of that vision? And I'll talk about that in a moment. Listen, really listen to the community. The community does not want one-way conversations where we're called in and we're asked certain questions and we give our opinions and we share our expertise, really not just opinion. Many of us are experts at what we do. And then we feel like we don't get any report back and we don't see the fruit of those conversations. So we want the fruit of the conversations and tell the truth. Tell the truth. Be honest. Speak the truth because it's only the truth that makes us free. Period. Be transparent. If we're not in it to win it for real, then let's not even do all this. And see, and I heard the young people come up quite a bit in the different conversations, and that's a big thing with them. If most of you all in here that's boots on the ground, you already know. If they don't trust you or they don't feel like you being transparent, you're just wasting your time. So all of us have to be transparent. And then other things that were said is that people want to be heard. People want to participate with their organization. So we talked about creating hubs, like faith community, hubs within the community where there will be hubs. And it's not just the church, it's the mosque, it's the temple, it's all of that. And when we come to these kind of conversations, we talk about the church. So we have a great example in the 3rd District of a vision, and it was brought in by Commander Roger Watson. It's called Together We Can. The community, for about roughly 3-4, maybe about almost since February, we've been meeting every single Friday, and there's a big discussion about what resources are available. There's block club leaders, there's pastors, there's parents, there's grandparents, there's even some young people even are on from time to time. All the different segments and sectors of the community, the key stakeholders of the community, we're coming together. We're talking about what are the resources there. We have a presentation by different organizations so that we know in real time what's available right now. Because we talk about a lack of resources, but on the flip side of that, and I will never be one to say, so don't get this twisted. Don't get it twisted. But I'm making a point. We talk about the lack of resources, which is absolutely true. But I also know from the work I do that some of the resources we're not taking advantage of. And it may be as simple as we don't know about it. So having a platform where we can learn about one another, know what each other's doing. You could be on one end of the block, somebody on the other end of the block, and you don't have a clue what they're doing. So these meetings are very fruitful. And then from that meeting, the clergy of the 3rd District, we've been meeting for several years. But from what Commander Watson is doing, we have now created a spiritual arm in connection to Together We Can. So that is a living example right now of a collaboration. And our goal is to help this man be successful. Because we what? We trust him. We believe in him. We believe, and is he perfect? No. And not. No, see, I'm being real, because people want to pick stuff apart and judge it. But no, we don't have time for all of that. Nobody is perfect. But we're going to keep working together and figuring it out and bring these young people into these meetings and let's do what you did. You do us all together and say, okay, we're going to figure it out. So those are some of the things that we're doing in the 3rd District, and we believe that it's working. We have a long way to go, but Commander Watson always encouraged people to join in on Fridays at 10 o'clock a.m. It's on Zoom and in person. So again, I want to thank this group because I think there was some great commitment here, and all of you that's in the room, thank you for the work you're doing. So I understand that there's some information about Together We Can on the information table. So please stop by and get that information. And let's really truly believe that together we can, because we really can. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Woo! Get some truth tellers in this room, don't we? We get some. We got it. All right, so a couple things here. One is all the commanders here are committed to their districts. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Because every single one of them, there's not an hour in the day that I have not seen him out on the streets working. Whether it's 2 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning, every last one of them are committed to the neighborhoods of this city. And they constantly are out there. I also know there's many of you in this room, whether it's 2 in the afternoon or 2 at night, you are out on the streets doing everything for the neighborhood you humanly possibly can to keep your neighbors safe.
No resources.
But I will say this. I think he's both. Because here's the difference. When you get out of your house at 2 in the morning, and you're not doing it because you're getting paid. You're doing it for the love of your neighbor. That's an honor. That's a commitment that most people don't have. And it's something that we all respect. But here's the thing. Go ahead, give your hand. Here's the other thing. And I've been to beat meetings and community meetings in every side of this city. Here's the one thing that I'm always asked. How do we get more people from our neighborhoods to be police officers? I want to see somebody that I went to school with, somebody I went to church with, somebody I went to temple with, be a police officer. Here's where we're at today. This is a fact. In the next year, we're going to hire 1,000 police officers. 1,000. Now, we have an opportunity to work together to ensure that people from the neighborhood have a chance at this career. Not job, career. And here's the difference between a job and a career. A career, you're going to put all your kids through school. You're going to pay a mortgage. You are going to go on vacation and enjoy your time. And more importantly, you are going to have a pension. Let me kid you not about the pension. I didn't think it was a big deal. Until my mother called me up and told me, you better take that job. It's got a pension. Because she wanted to know that when she leaves this God's good earth, that her little baby boy had something coming in the door and he could eat something after she's gone. And let me tell you this, as I come up to my 20th year, woo, do I love my mama. I got a little pension and I won't be eating cat food. I might eat a little dog food every now and then, but I won't be eating cat food. That's a career. And it's important that we have people from our neighborhoods to take on this career. There's nothing like somebody that you grew up knowing that's out there making sure you can sleep sound at night. There's nothing, we always talk, and I heard it a couple times here, if the police could just get out the car to know the neighborhood. It's even better when they get out the car and know the neighborhood because they grew up in the hood. So, this next question is very important. How can we, the police department, work with the faith-based community to recruit officers from the neighborhood? There is 1,000 opportunities coming up. This is an answer to a question that we've been asked all the time. How can we ensure people from the neighborhood get to become police officers? We're going to, this time, guess what? That's why you got a group to have that conversation. This time we're going to try 5 minutes. Now, history might repeat itself. When we tried 10 minutes, we went for 25 minutes. So I'm trying to get between 5 and 25. All right? Here's the question one more time. How can a faith-based community and the police department help recruit people from the neighborhood? All right? Y'all ready? It is now 7:08. You ready? Let's begin.
All right. So let's go around this time. So from the last, Johnson did get a chance to say before the lady is going this way, gentleman in black, gentleman here, glasses. I don't know your name. Sorry. This brother here, this brother here. All right.
Let's turn around into about a minute. All right. So first of all, I grew up in the projects. Lived in Inglewood, all the way until I was an adult, being stayed here because I didn't have a problem being there. One of the biggest things I think with making that decision to come from the hood and be the police, it's not a popular decision coming from the hood. But the thing is, what I wanted to do, I I wanted to make sure that I was the extension of my neighborhood, and I wanted to go to my neighborhood, not to police them, but to get understanding with the masses, because a lot of people don't trust government, you see. So when you start seeing faces like yourself that represent this role, it should commend other people to want to be a part of it. Because when I go out, no matter what type of discrimination I get, I take it all through the riots, because I'm here for a reason. I'm here to make my community better. So if that's your purpose, and I know we spoke about what is our common interest. I know the one thing that all of us want to hear, we want our kids to be safe. We want to live, and we don't want to have to, our sisters, our mothers, we don't want them to be in danger, and that's for everybody. That ain't gonna be just for black, that ain't gonna be just for white, that ain't gonna be for the church people, that is everybody. That's the one common thing that no matter what question is posed to us, that's the one thing that we can all gather at and say, this is what we want. Now we fan out from that, after we know we're safe, after we know we've been fed, now we can go after these other things. We want to be educated. You know, we want to have these careers, and we want to do things that everybody else, the American dream, or whatever that is for you. But that's what we want, right? Equality. So that's my minute and a half. I'm gonna pass it on. And like I said, from the hood, being somebody from the hood, this job has educated me. You know, I've got my master's degree. I've been trained all over this country. I'm able to send my kids to schools that I didn't go to. So through that, and I talk to young people all the time, it's not about, use this as a stepping stone, because life is about you using that single life to elevate your bloodline, right? We all want our kids to have better and do better than us, right? And we don't want them to suffer what we went through. And some of you guys I know, my brother just finished on a 30-year sentence. He raised me from a jail cell. So some of the decisions that I made was based on me not wanting to be in a position that he was in, right? So that's what we should all want. From the hood, we need more people coming from the hood, so we don't have to have people that come from Naperville, that come from all these other places to come police our neighborhoods. But if we don't take the job, that's what we're going to get.
All right.
All right, let's just like this real quick. Like, stand up. Move, stand up. See, look, they'll never go in church. Not by you all calling. But because they trust me, and they not, and the shorties that trust them, the men that they over in the street, the little guys that they over, these are the guys that can tell them to be police. Because at the end of the day, these guys have the trust of the community. These are the people keeping the street safe. So if the church don't even know to get with us, to get with them, they'll never have no connection. So if you don't bring the people like McKenzie and Smitty, not bringing these shorties to say, hey man, y'all got to do something better. We're gonna create some police. But we got to show them that our relationships are good, and we not beefing over no systematic injustice. And I can actually go to Washington and say, hey man, that's a bad shake over here, man. And they believe that we can call on them and when it's times of need and trouble. If we don't ever come to a point where we trust the system police, because the system has a story, here go the truth again. Black bodies languish in prison. The war on drugs destroyed our communities and took men off the streets, and now you all even, and we in our view, y'all are police and dispensaries, and we are in effect. So all this stuff is like, and it's legislators, like you just said, it never bridged the gap of reparation and prepare for the damage caused by institutions. Then the church got to come and then spiritually repair something that we never dealt with mentally, morally, emotionally, and all of that. So these guys would be the ones to usher in the process by which, if he can go and be a police officer, because I say, man, it's good, it's okay to be a police officer. Try it, man, go to the academy. That's how you do it. It's gonna come from us if you want to get those shorts, because the trust factor has to be developed.
And that's why time, what I tell you, come sit at the table, man. And what did I tell you? What I tell you? Come sit at the table. All right, I'll keep it fast.
Trying to curb my words, so I don't want to come off this passion. But when you look at that question personally, I wouldn't recommend anybody sign up. I and my children and my grandchildren. Because again, if we're dealing with truth, not persons. I know that brother's a good sergeant. I know where he is in his heart. But the system is designed to hurt even his children. So while we're dealing with the black officers who demand for us to respect them, I say back to you, how do you protect your own children from a system that's designed to destroy them? There has never been officer friendly or a servant and protection in the black community. And so why in 2022 would I say to my child to join a broken system? And so I ask a reverse question to the pastors too. What's in it for our children? Because as it stands, all of our babies are locked up because of these two entities collaborate. The church forgot about the babies, and the police, even the black police, have more of what are we in Chicago? 11, 13% black people? Why is it every officer in every police station has a higher interaction with black people than any other race? It lets you know that even the black officers are programmed to dislike and to harass black individuals.
Okay.
So I just say we got to do better about the system, not the individuals who believe in the system.
There was a people that asked before. This gentleman had asked before. We're going to go here.
To answer that question, I wasn't going to say that, but I'll get to what I was just to suggest to the church to say that. I'd say you change the system from within. How else does the system change? So you bring people in there to change the system. That's the whole point. You know, to get people in there that are from the business, they're going to have to change it. That's how you do it. You change the system. So that's the first point. To answer that question on the collaboration, I got three students in mind. Two of them are, one of them is in the academy right now, one of them is an officer, another one's trying. All of them, the wait time was psychotic. To get all the way through to the system, to get all the way through, to get like everything. It just seems like everything was at a snail's pace. I've never seen anything slower in my life than people taying to get in to become a police officer.
Prior to COVID or?
And then two of them were prior to COVID. One of them's right now. He's trying to get in right now as we speak. And it's the slowest thing I've ever seen. And I mean, like one of them, he just talked to me on Sunday. He's like, hey, have you gotten a call yet? One of my guys got a call to get a check yet. I'm like, nope, check my email. I'm not with it. So they took one person and they took another.
To answer your question, part of that is being addressed now. There's a whole new recruitment process going on, and
you need to address that before you ask that question. But it's been 3 or 4 years. For me, it was 8 months. It's different for different times.
I want everybody to hear this because I ain't talking where everybody else talking. First of all, you can't be what you can't see. Right. Can't be what you can't see. The police department right now is on a 95 and 5 percentile. 90% of y'all come to work, it's a job, you go home. 5% of y'all above board, go above and beyond. 5% right to the home, you get 3. And that's the flip with the community too. Okay? But when you don't have trust within your own, where you go search other states for a superintendent and you don't get them from here, why would a kid want to be a police and come up in the rankings and he's the deputy chief and he can't be the superintendent? Because they're going to go to Philadelphia and California and he do it.
Snaps for that.
I know plenty of good officers that came up first deputy chief that should have been the superintendent.
Snap.
But they had to go somewhere else to get a superintendent. So that's my take on it. Why would a kid trust getting a career and coming up through his career and he can't go no further? You see, you can't do what you can't see.
I just want to say one thing. You asked the question, what can the faith community to help us recruit from the original we have a lot of young but today, they will say, no, the reason is, what is the police department say and communicate to why these individuals do not want to come? I'm sure you're hearing these same answers why this demographic is so how are you communicating that back to the table to the community to say we can get one person out of 1,000 and then one child and they have
So you have more reasons why they aren't, and how do you challenge reason to make it
All right, the gentleman behind you.
Talk a little loud. Talk a little loud, bro.
Step in a little bit so we can hear you.
Yeah, step on in.
Everything down at an alarming rate in the community for years. And the police been having their foot on our necks and been doing most of the killing. But I ain't think damn time nobody says that what they gonna do to correct their problem, but asking us to join them. What if we join a cult? Because that's what it seems like. The city's not committed to anything. It's been stuff going on for years. John Burr, everything else. Ain't nobody else has stepped up and said, hey, we have a problem, we gonna fix it. But, like they said, you turn around and have somebody from Dallas, don't even know Chicago. Look at the situation now.
So, for the first time, I'm going to say something. Now, I grew up with a low-income project in town. Didn't know anything, didn't have any good run-ins with the police. Matter of fact, I didn't want to have nothing to do with the police. Today, I don't understand how these kids won't listen to me. Anyway, coming to 39th Street, call myself. Anyway, left from the military. Get out of the military. Was a little wound up. I got arrested 2 times. For BS. I said, you know what? I got this wrong. The last time I was arrested, the officer told me, you know what? It's BS. But if you want to do something about it, get in and do something. I said, you know what? You're right. I finished school, got on the streets of Florida. I can't tell you how many times I've helped numerous people in situations they probably, somebody else probably wouldn't know. And I don't take that as a kudos. I just felt as though this was something that I could help with. I can't tell you how many DUIs I picked people up and put them home instead of driving. You know, and I left the car where they were. But some of this, we have to break up the myth. Being a police is a sellout. Being a police is your op. It's not a bad decision. One of the ways that we correct it is by doing it internally. You can't tell me that you can't correct something from inside as well as you can from outside. But you have to get in there to see what's going on, what it is that you didn't like, what is it that you don't like, and how you can do a better job. There's still such thing in this job. We still have a little bit of and sometimes we can use that. But if we don't break the chain of their randomness, I can't make and we out on the street, and I'll get 14 years, and they'll say, no sir, yes sir, but they'll give me a hard time. You know how many times guys correct wrong?
May I respond to that? May I respond?
But at the end of the day, if you don't change it, it's not going to change.
Exactly.
You have to do something to change it. So as far as you decide, hey, do I want this job? It has to start with the household. It has to start with the block. It has to start with the individual society. You know what? Maybe it's not all bad. Maybe I can do something. It has to start. It has to start from the person to the person. Blah, blah, blah. Neighborhood to neighborhood. So don't.
We're going to come back around this way.
Okay, we're going to move to Lieutenant, then we go to this young brother right here. You want to say something? Okay, after I heard that, I got you.
He'll tell you why. I mean, more than anything. We see the cool cops out there, don't get me wrong, you feel me? But, I mean, y'all ain't really did nothing to stop the system or stop the corruption like this. Y'all voted somebody over there. Y'all know, you know my struggle, you know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Somebody else tell you, no, send him to jail or send him away for this one or whatever, y'all can do it. Y'all ain't showing me nothing else to prove otherwise. You know
To address that real quick, as he mentioned, we have discretion. There's a lot that we can do, but there's a lot that we can't do. Doing things for the right reason, but it's still not right. There's not much we can do because we're held to it. We take an oath of sworn to it. Okay, so we can feel for it, we can treat people as much as we can, but there's only so far that we can go to help. You know, there's a certain point where we don't have discretion. I want the laws with the law. But I think what he's saying is to get you guys to come in and change what it is, to see what it is from the police side. It's not a dictatorship. It's not us against it. We're all working together. Like it wasn't said before. All we want is for our kids to be safe, our families to be safe. I mean, I want to see the kids playing on the whole block on the front lawn, not in the yard or in the basement.
So I'm gonna. I'm not to cut you off.
Oh, let watch.
He dropped the ball.
Am I correct?
No.
You know, right?
No, you good.
So with that being said, I can't do this without this. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying in essence is that let's go back. Is this working from the outside? Is it working for us?
No.
Right? Is that working for us? So if we don't take a step and make a voice, it ain't going to change. What I'm trying to do with us is trying to enlighten each one and teach one. That's what we're trying to do here. So if you come and you listen to what I'm doing and how I'm getting down, you will be with this movement. The movement is about us taking care of and taking back your community. I'm telling you guys, listen to what I'm doing, roll with it, and get more of you involved with us.
But Commander, get more of you involved because as he said, every commander's not you. You're a good commander, but I can speak of one in this room that's not necessarily one. So I get what you're saying, but I'm saying you telling us to get with it, and we're about that. But you got to get the police department because they're technically the authority figure. They're technically the authority figure, and they misuse that and mishandle.
But we're working on that. That's what I'm trying to say. We're working on it. Yeah.
You know, just one thing.
You want to come and go back to the red.
Lieutenant Irvin.
Okay, also, but you know, together we can model and basically take it back our communities. When I came back to the 3rd district, what we did was we're out there in the community, boots on the ground. We're out there. What we did, we was going to 63rd and Cottage Road, 71st and Stony, doing takeovers. So that's, and then the bad part is that it was a majority of women. We need the men to come out there and have our, just like, I'm just impressed with all the men, and I respect everybody's opinion, but if we don't come together and do this, it's not gonna work. We need you all need us, and with everybody have their own opinions, what's gonna happen to them, but if we come together and do this together and work this out, I think it's gonna be a big change going on, and we're leading it from the front lines in the 3rd district.
Okay,
Let me say something.
Let's start. We'll take the 3rd. We'll take it. I wouldn't.
You're not doing what you're not saying.
No, I understand what you're
What I'm saying is, if it works here,
Yeah.
proof of concept. If it works here, it's proof of concept, right? If it works here, you have a voice, you have a say so. If you feel that shit, if you take it to them, they gonna run with this now. You wanna know why? Because it's like you said, legislating, voting, you can have a voice.
I agree.
So
We're just
we're
all
doing
sitting in the we shouldn't all be in this group. We should be spread out amongst the other groups. Somebody from the 3rd needs to be over there so they can talk about the 3rd.
We got slight pushback for the You spoke about being from the community. First, I'll say there's no coincidence that the church's membership is failing at the same time that the police new enrollment of black officers is suffering. It's not no coincidence. I say to officers like yourself, decorated officers, black officers, right, who watched as mass incarceration got ushered in, who watched us be hunted by that force. You was around, sir. And so now I say to all of you who now telling people like me who trying to be a liaison between the pastor and the block, the police and the block, why should I trust you? You were around when my grandmama got hit in the head. You were around when My nephew, when I was a victim of police force.
You can't speak for me like that, bro.
Well, I say is there are decorated officers who are now asking us to have faith that you are now there to be our voices. What I'm saying is, why should I trust that when in 2022 we're still dealing with a force that shows up in quandaries when there's an officer hurt? Well, there's a baby hurt in these blocks, ain't none of them. It's the same block. So if officers shot in response of hundreds of times,
what was that when the baby got shot, Ty?
Again, brother, I'm not saying this person. We know you.
I said it.
We know you.
Gotta have a little more to y'all.
I'm saying, how do you expect me to trust another commander from a different position who ain't got no substance?
Let me
We set 5 minutes at 7:08. We are now at 7:32. My 5 minutes is turned into another 20 minutes. All right, are we ready? Let's start here. We are going to start. And here. Officer Tracy, can I get the room?
I think that
controls
out here, you see how this is being done out here, start a process by which they are funded.
Let's take a pause real quick.
Resource them.
Officer Tracy, are you ready?
Get them trained properly, whatever they need, and let them
Hey, it's not going to share the wisdom when we come back to the family. Don't worry.
Another thing you can look at doing, not like we know these people who want 2022, but the media plays a big part in keeping the black police and the police in tour with each other. Start documenting the things that are going on.
So we had a conversation here as well, and one of the things I saw over and over, we heard over and over, was officers coming out and saying that people can use these recruitments. Go to the churches, go to the organizations, you know, instead of inviting them to come to a rally, maybe convene, go out to them to discuss things. Also, again, the collaboration between the church and the department to help identify candidates, potential candidates. Have officers speak with these candidates on a more one-on-one level. Also, we can instruct and advise the interview process, mock interviews, resume writing, physical fitness preparation, inform people what they need to do when they go to the test, what the requirements are, basic requirements. Establish liaison, again, between the department and church to identify these problems, these concerns, participate in community days, set up a table at community days, other local events. Also push the point and advertise that you don't do this, you don't do Lucier and you run on calls all your whole career. There's so many different aspects to this job that people don't realize. They think we all do the same thing. There's so many different ways, you know, mounting was brought up canine, so it piques interest for certain kids that they don't, you know, they don't want to ride around and just arrest people all day long. There's so many other things that they do. Discuss with youth that it's important for them to consider this career, to make changes that will affect them. The harboring on the Be the Change slogan, you can actually be the change. You can't just complain about it, you can do it. Change the narrative through storytelling. Officers just go and tell stories to the youth to engage them. Video public service announcements that show all the different aspects of the job. Campaigns to show why other youth want to be in the police, so that they're hearing from their peers, not just from police officers or from the faith, basically they're actually hearing from people their own age on why they want to be in the police or why they became the police. Also, in building an ad with incentives, offer incentives, whatever is how small it may be, so they have a little bit more motivation to do those types of things. Went to page 2 here, so it's very good. All officers can attend Sunday services or any services to interact and discuss with the church community. Be the Police for a Day program. Some Citizens Police Academy that we have, but a little bit more one-on-one. And that was basically it. A lot of stuff brought out. I didn't go over anything, but we had a lot to go over.
So, before I go to the next group, one thing that we've done that we have never done before, and I heard a couple of groups talk about it. Most of the people that you see in the room, the commanders that are in the room here, and most of the people here, is when they came on a job, they took a test, and they would advertise the test, anywhere between 10 and 30,000 people would sign up. So guess kind of what kind of recruiting we did at the police department? None. Just told you when the test is. The world has changed. We now have a full-time recruiting team. Can you guys raise your hand? Those 3 officers joined by another 18 officers? 14, 18, we'll include a couple sergeants in there and a deputy. We have about 21 officers that do this full time. And here's what they do, which is really important. When we have officers from all over the city as part of the recruitment team. So here's what's really important. They will come out to that church. They will come out to that temple, that synagogue, that mosque, and they will work with you on a recruitment event when you want to. But let me just say this. Did you sign up? Raise your hand. Did you sign up when you came in here? Because we can't make a connection if we can't get in touch with you. And when you sign up, we can read your name, right? Everybody didn't do the doctor scribble. Because I still scribble. Alright, so just make sure we can read it. Alright, and before we go to the next group, I just want to do one other little thing. If you are a member of the Chicago Police Department and you got a bachelor's, master's, law degree, or PhD, please raise your hand while in the department. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let me take up 15. And what you're not telling me, the video should raise 2 hands because they got multiple hands. Let me help you. This department not only gives you a career, but it will ensure that you have an education to go on further in your life and live that best life.
To what cause?
For if you're in the department, keep working, no cost. So let me come to this group here. Who's going to be judge for the speaker?
The group talked about encouraging youth to stop going to jail and obtaining criminal backgrounds. Increase the cutoff age. Increase the cutoff age limit. Police need to groom young people in their youth programs. Community needs to encourage youth. Police need to make intentional efforts, and the church has to help set up those interactions. Be honest about the branding of the police. Help change the branding. Take the funds for 1,000 officers, and those need to be redirected to organizations that actually have relationships. Commanders need to be more available to come out and speak to the youth. There first has to be a trust level. We have to build trust in the community. Politicians have to work in unity with the police. Officers on the recruiting team have to look like the community who will engage the community.
Thank you, guys. So, group number 1, we're going to finish strong. We're going to finish with y'all. Because that was a lot of passion over there.
Yes,
so let's come over here who has equal passion. Maybe not as much volume, but they got the passion. So who's going to speak over here? Go ahead, you ready?
Oh, I'm going to say
so we collectively had a couple of things that are common the groups, a couple of things that knowing the requirements for the position so that churches are able to source and talk to youth about the position. Churches knowing the requirements so that they're able to go door to door to people within their congregations that are within that targeted demographic so that they can have that information. For there to be practice exams that are offered within the churches, also including fitness exams, fitness practices too. For there to be that information for youth who might have been 420 friendly, how to be clean when it's time to be through with the hiring process. Another thing we talked about was officers coming into the churches, not just officers in the community as well, themselves are able to talk about their experiences and to ID youth versus church members ID them, because it's more empowering that police officers who know the job are able to say that I think that you would make a good officer versus someone who may have never been in police saying that. And lastly, also having officers around to make themselves feel they care about that. The people that are applying, sometimes the people want to apply for something, so they don't feel as though they're here and bridging that gap between information you don't necessarily know that being a police officer is a career for service.
And we move forward. So, a couple things here. With this new recruitment and retention team, this is what they can help people do. They can help them work out any credit issues they may have had. They can help you prepare for the PT, the physical test. They will help you prepare for the test. They will help you go through this process. Here's a little bit different about applying for the police department versus applying for other jobs. It's a process. You can't go in this week, fill out an application, and within 30 days you are out on the streets. It's going to be a little bit. So it's going to be 2-3 months to go through all the steps. This is the most important thing about the steps. You can make it through the steps. It's just a process. Being patient and taking your time and going through the steps, and we have people there to help guide you and navigate you how you can successfully be a police officer. You're not going to be out there by yourself trying to do all this stuff, because I understand it can be a little bit confusing, but we have people that help you get through that process. Now we're going to close with number 1. Yes. Y'all ready? Who's the speaker? All right.
If you're here, my man was Steve Patterson, I think we passed the mention the fast tracking process. I'm happy to know that you have a few candidates, right? And they've been going through the process for what, 2 years, a year? Too long. I give up. I can sell drugs quicker than that and make money. That's all you. That's it. Y'all don't even get it. You not let you be without a paycheck in a career. I'm gonna see what you do. So in that case, that is serious for our children. They have the attention span today is real serious. Y'all need to figure that out. You may have to do a video game. And that's, with that being said, we went to Spinney, I think. We was talking about our fellow officers acting as that they can identify, constantly standing before us during the recruitment process. These are the guys that I think we can relate to more that look like us. No pun intended to our Latino sisters over there that, you know, our young men are more than likely in our community, being for real, I mean, we're looking at that different cultures, because it's not looking like us when the cars roll up on the day. They're looking white, black, or a white or a Latino or one black officer, and that's what you're saying. saying. We have to figure out a new model. And we talked about if somebody like myself and these guys that's out here every day spitting, Charles McKinney and the group that's with me are out there every day stopping these young homies from sliding, drilling, and killing. When we say to them, this is what we need to do. We need to usher you all into a new direction. And we have an actual program we can put you in. We approve of it. But you all don't ever use us in that way. It's always this. Even when you're talking about recruit, you're talking about a new recruiting form from the police department. Why should I trust that? Y'all never use y'all community liaison resources properly. How are you gonna be serious? We're not gonna take y'all serious because it seems like the same old proverbial crap that continues to spill over into our community. So we have to figure out how to merge those churches and pastors for real and their connections to the community. Other than that, we still going through the same process. And what was the other issue? Family. You mentioned Pastor. Oh, the media don't give it. CP. Yes. That's Glenn Brooks' fault. What do you mean, what's going on with it? He talking about every time there's a problem, he come out there, he communicates, and we have to get, honestly, bro, y'all stay getting out in front, telling the story before even the investigation even started. Let's stop that too. So with that being said, brother, man,
I ain't gonna keep omitting my part. I, as a kid, don't want to be a police. When every time it's time for a promotion to superintendent, we go outside our city and find somebody else. All these deputy chiefs, they work there. How long you been working?
19 years.
And they never get a superintendent from another city. You can't do what you can't see. These little kids, we work with every day. They don't want to work up to the rankings and they don't know they can't go no more. So they need to work on that. And some of these, no pun intended, some of these black officers that went to sergeant, lieutenant, commander, deputy chief, first deputy, why they can't take the next step?
Say that, say it.
Oh man, he got all the medals in the world. All the medals in the world. Why you need a superintendent?
Because it's politics.
Oh, hold on.
Take that mic. Take that mic from this circus.
Hey, so, hold on here. There's a couple things here.
She got a real back.
She got a question. Let me do a couple things here.
And where is the superintendent? He was supposed to have been here. That's where my invitation came from.
So, let me answer a couple questions. So, first of all, I want to thank you for your honesty, because that takes a lot to give us that honesty, and we really do appreciate it. So, number one, thank you. Number two, so, this is the superintendent, and this is the problem with being superintendent that's behind these things, is called away to other things. And today, because of the current situation in the department, the superintendent got called away to deal with some of the things that you see in the media. That's the point blank, that's what happened. So, but here's one of the reasons we did it this particular way. We planned for this. You have the chiefs, first deputy, your commanders, and your deputy chiefs, the people who run it every single day. And let me tell you, for many of you that I see at 2 in the morning, it is not the superintendent I'm calling.
It's me.
It's your commander. I got to call the commander, a deputy chief or a chief to help resolve the issues that are on our streets every day. And you were talking to them tonight. So I do apologize if Sue wasn't here, but I want to make it perfectly clear. The people and the leaders that are on the block 24 hours a day were in this room. And that's what we you were talking with. That's who you share your wisdom with. Now, we're going to have to close this with some prayer. But I just want to point this out. We were trying to get you out of here in an hour and a half. We're going on 2 hours. That commitment and that honesty came from y'all. So thank you very much. All right, let me see. You're close enough. Come on up here. This is the best part being in a room of faith leaders. I can just pick from my left or right. Can you close us out with some prayer? Hey, there you go.
Yes, I'm Minister Alicia from Church of the Living God, Pilgrim Ground Truth on 67th and Hermitage. Thank you, Officer King, for the invite. Oh, if we could just bow our heads for a word of prayer. Forgive me for my faults, sins, God. Please forgive me for my sins. If you can confess to God in your own way. Oh, gracious Father, we just thank you for the magnitude and the impact of this meeting. Father God, we thank you for each and every individual that came out after working long shifts of their days, time from their families, to come here underneath one cause on one accord to make the community better, to build the relationship with the police and our community, because we are all brothers and sisters. Father God, we are all your children. Father, we ask that you can continue to give us the way, the methodologies, not because of what we want, Father, but we know that we serve a God of peace and a God of love. Father, create in us and put us on the right path that you would have us to go. Keep us all safe, cover us all from the crown of our heads to the sole of our feet, our children, our tomorrow. For we don't have hope in tomorrow, but we have hope in the God that makes tomorrow possible. Father, thank you for this time. Bless all of our leaders in the gospel here, all the pastors, the bishops, the ministers, the deacons, the saints, and the friends, and all of the police officers, the commanders, the chiefs, the first deputies, everyone, and all of our great community leaders that are here, that are on the block night after night. Keep us all safe, because we want one thing: love, peace, harmony, and joy in our family and our community. Let us have many more of these fellowships and collaborations to come that are fruitful. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. It's live, uncut, unedited, people.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. And seriously, you did not have to spend this time with us, away from your families and loved ones. We do appreciate it. Please get home safely and have a good night. Thank you again.
Live, uncut, unedited. Live, uncut, unedited, people. Share it on your page. Live, uncut, unedited. Share it on your page. Share it on your page. I appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you share it on the page. For those that couldn't be here, is documented. Documentation beats conversation, so you know what it was like being here in the flesh. Share it on your page. Peace out.